Hi, I'm Leah Carey, and this is the Good Girls Talk About Sex video series. Today, I want to talk about what are the things we pay attention to and how do they inform how we feel about ourselves. So, as I've talked about, my father started telling me when I was about 11 years old that I was fat and ugly and that no one would ever be attracted to me. As part of this sort of repetition of this message, there were two things in particular that I remember my dad really referring to. One was a picture that had been taken of me, that actually he took of me, when I was either 10 or 11. It was for a school science fair project, and I was demonstrating some exercises that a chiropractor had shown me for how to combat scoliosis, which was a condition that as a young girl I had. In these photos, I'm lying on a table and I'm wearing a leotard and tights. And didn't think anything of it at the time. But about a year or so later, my dad brought those pictures up in conversation and said to me, "Remember those pictures? Remember the pictures that we took of you on that table? And remember how poochy your stomach was. You were already starting to get fat." I was so ashamed at the idea of those pictures that I never pulled them out to look at them, because in my head, I knew exactly what they were going to look like. They were going to be me lying on a table with this big stomach sticking out. I want you to see that picture. So, as you can see, I don't have a poochy stomach in this picture. I have a practically concave stomach in this picture. What he was referring to, I have no bloody idea. There was what he said, and then there was actual documented evidence to the contrary. But all that I latched onto was what he said. Similarly, a couple of years later, when I was in high school, anyone who knows me will laugh at the fact that I spent a year as a cheerleader, which is like the opposite of anything that you would expect of me. But truth be told, in junior high school, I was a cheerleader for a year. And I was not very good at it. But, it was kind of fun. And I probably would have continued with it, except that my dad said to me, "You look terrible in that outfit. You're too fat for the outfit. Look how fat you are compared to the other girls on the team." It took me until a year and a half ago, well into my 40s, to look for evidence about the cheerleader uniform. And I want you to see that picture. Not only am I not the largest girl on this team, I fit right in with every other girl on it. And yet I stopped cheerleading. I didn't go out for basketball, which was the other thing that I thought I might be interested in, because I knew that those uniforms were even skimpier. So I didn't do the thing I wanted to do because I had heard the message that my body didn't fit the clothing. There is really clear evidence that what my dad said to me was complete bullshit. But I didn't go looking for the evidence because I bought into the message. We have a tendency as human beings to decide on what the message is that we're going to believe and then look for evidence to prove that message. It's called confirmation bias. So I heard the message enough times that I was fat and ugly that I believed all of the evidence that came to me about how I was fat and ugly. All of that evidence was in my father's voice. I did not go looking for any other evidence that perhaps he was wrong or misguided. That evidence was readily available, but I didn't look for it. Similarly, the idea that no one would ever be attracted to me. Until the last couple of years, I put 100% of weight on every person who rejected me, every person who wasn't attracted to me, every person who didn't notice me. And I said, look, there is all of the evidence for how unattractive and undesirable I am. No one will ever want me. I completely discounted the fact that I had a whole group of people who had expressed overt interest in me, but I discounted them as crazy or somehow misinformed because they didn't fit the evidence that I was choosing to believe. The question is, how do we then shift our focus and see all of the evidence that potentially we are looking in the wrong direction, that there are people who are attracted to us, that there are people who are willing and ready and able to love our body exactly the way it is. The fact that we are a good partner or a good parent. There's probably a lot of evidence that you're not seeing yet because your focus is entirely toward those things that you have been taught and conditioned to believe. If this is something that you want to look at a little more deeply, please let me know. There's information about my coaching in the description of this video. I would love to talk with you because this isn't an easy thing. You hear a video and you're like, yeah, that sounds great. That makes a lot of sense. Now what? We can't necessarily really easily and quickly make these shifts by ourselves. So I would love to talk with you. If you are new here, please subscribe, hit the bell so that you're notified when I put out new videos. I look forward to talking to you again soon. And until then, here's to your better sex life.